It's Tanya Bridge Malone back with another YouTube video. So I'm gonna show you all my fit. I just uploaded I just uploaded a freestyle a little while ago. I went into Ross and looked around. I did find me a pair of shorts, but that's all I found. I found a new pair of shorts in there, but you will not believe this. I tried on every size from a 1, 3, 5, 7, and a 9. And I had to wear an 11. They're high-rise shorts, but I like my shorts to fit. If they don't come around the waist, if they don't fit around the hip area, they ain't gonna fit around the waist. But I wear my pants on my hips. So anyway, I didn't end up getting those because that was crazy. So I went in and got me another. I went over there and got me another pair of shorts, size 3. They fit fine, baggy enough for me, not too tight for me. So I got those. Anyway, I really didn't see anything new in Ross. That's the reason why I didn't show y'all anything that was in Ross. There's nothing really a whole lot new other than them shorts I found. I found one pair of shoes that was $27 and something. They were Pumas with some neon green on them. They were kind of neat, but I didn't get them. They was only $27.99. But I don't need shoes, y'all. I got a whole house full of shoes. I'm good. So anyway, I'm going to show y'all my fit. Then I stopped at Burger King, got me a coffee and some burgers again. So I have something to eat, and so I'm going to show y'all my fit. But it is cold today. It's only like 40-some degrees today. It's only supposed to get the high of 48 today. So that's crazy. Yesterday was 63, 64. Now today it's 48. Like, the weather is like really crazy. But anyway, I'm going to take my key out of the ignition so it ain't making noises when I get out of the truck. So this is my toboggan. I've had it for 2 years. This shirt I got from Ross way back there, way back. And then these pants I got, my True Religion jeans and my my Timberland boots. And hold on, y'all, I gotta set this back up here. Alright, I really like my tripod I got in my car, because if you're all looking for a tripod, they sell them in Ross for $5.99. And man, this one's dope because it holds everything, and I like that. That way I don't have to put it on my steering wheel and it fall off, you know, when I'm in my truck. It won't, you know, so I think that was a good investment. Now I think I'm going to turn my truck on to get a little bit of heat because it's a little cold in here. Alright, so I'm going to proceed to eat, and then when I get done, I'll show y'all the shorts I copped. I only copped one thing. It's only $14 or something. I didn't spend a lot of money. They did give me some napkins today, considering a lot of times they don't give me no napkins. The last couple of times that I've ate at Burger King, they hadn't gave me no napkins. But anyway, I'm putting these napkins down so I don't get stuff all over me. So, there's my burgers, nothing new, y'all. Hopefully they gave me a fork. There's times they ain't gave me a fork either, and that's just crazy. I mean, you know you gotta have a fork and napkins if somebody orders food. That's just common sense. But they just slipped their mind. But anyway, I'll show y'all what the burgers look like. I mean, it ain't like y'all ain't already seen them before, I'm sure. These are the burgers. Pickles, ketchup, and mustard, and cheese. So anyway, dear Heavenly Father, I want to ask that you bless this food. I thank you for this day that I woke up, and I ask that you bless this food, and I love you in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I always pray over my food. Anyway, get to eating so I can get on with this video. Now y'all, the video that I uploaded to freestyle, it's not the greatest as far as me staying on beat to the T. I'm still learning to try to stay on beat to different beats I haven't heard of, you know, so when I freestyled over that beat, you know, it's it'll stay on. Sometimes I stay on beat, sometimes I'm off beat. So don't make fun of me, because God told me I don't have to be perfect at what I do in order to pursue my purpose. You know, I gotta learn to just go with the flow. You know, because there's still things I'm learning. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect by no means. But it wasn't a bad freestyle. It had a lot of good things said in the freestyle, but I was off beat a little bit. But we gotta start somewhere, you know what I mean? Hope y'all having a blessed day. A blessed day in the Lord. Even if the sun ain't shining, if you woke up to see another day, thank the Lord. Praise Jesus that we're still alive, we're still here. Try to stay positive in your life. I like their burgers at Burger King. I like them a lot better than McDonald's. Of course, none of the eat-out food's good for you, really. Last one. I never get fries from Burger King because they have gluten in them. But I am glad they gave me some napkins today. Pretty good. Hit the spot. I had to have something to eat. That was really good. I like Burger King's burgers. And the reason I do is because they have they taste like they got a charcoal taste to them. You know what I mean? Like they've been cooked on the grill. That's what I like about them. Now, some people may not like Burger King's burgers because of the charcoal taste, but it feels like they've been grilled on the grill is what it tastes like. And I like burgers on the grill. So, therefore, it don't bother me to taste the charcoal taste because it tastes good to me. That's kind of what it gives me the vibes of, you know, something that's been cooked on the grill, a burger been cooked on the grill. That's good. And 3 of them burgers and a large iced coffee is $9.92. That's not too bad. Not the cheapest, but you got cheese, you got mustard, ketchup, pickles, and a large coffee. There ain't too many places you can eat for $10. But I really like them, so. But I'll show y'all my shorts here in a little bit. I'm gonna I'm going to smoke me a cigarette, obviously, and chop it up with y'all. How y'all doing today? If anybody needs any prayer for anything, down in the comment section below, just say you need prayer. You don't have to go into detail about what you need prayed for. If that's not what you don't have to leave your business in the comment section if you don't want to. I'm not saying that. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, just say, hey, I need prayer. That's fine. I'll pray for you. We all need prayer in this life of today. Trust me. I put on shorts. Now, when I shot that freestyle that I uploaded, y'all, I had that yellow shirt on and shorts that I showed you all yesterday, but I had to end up taking it off because I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and it was cold, and I didn't know it was only going to be 40-some degrees today, so it don't even feel like 48. It's pretty chilly. So I ended up putting a sweatshirt and toboggan on because I don't want to get cold, and I got pants on and my boots on. I don't like underdressing, but I'm like you all. I'm ready for short weather. I'm ready for shorts and sleeveless shirts, and I'm ready for all that. But we just ain't getting them warm days like we want. We're getting more cold days than we are warm days. But this weather here is it's just crazy, and you don't want to underdress. But yeah, really, there ain't been much of anything new in Ross the last couple days, so that's the reason why I haven't really been showing y'all anything in the Ross or anything, because Marshalls ain't got nothing new. There just ain't nothing new in there. They got the same old stuff, so trying to think if I seen any new shoes today, because there ain't. I mean, if I see, I didn't even see one new pair of shoes in there that I saw. Matter of fact, they got one pair of shoes in there that I bought way back when I first started working at the last job I had, and I got for like $20-some. And they got them for $54.99. That's the same pair I picked up like 9-10 months ago. So a lot of times if Ross gets a certain type of shoe, maybe they have more of them and they just ain't putting it all out. You know what I mean? I bought them shoes 10-11 months ago, and of course I got rid of them. I gave them to the Hands of Hope or whatever, but I'm saying I got them for $20-some, and they're in there right now for $54.99. I did find a new pair of Pumas as an 8 in the men's, but I didn't end up picking them up. I did see it. They were high tops. They were nice looking shoes. They were all white, all leather. They were $35 is all they were. They were all white with red Puma on the back. It was pretty nice for $34.99. Them were dope shoes. They really were. They were dope looking shoes. And I got a fitted match perfectly, but I didn't get it. Found a pair of Pumas that I hadn't seen before that had neon green and stuff on them, and very comfortable for $27.99, but I didn't get them. They was black with some neon green. But I don't need any shoes, y'all. You know what I mean? I don't need any shoes. I got a whole side of my bed full of shoes. I don't need any more. And obviously, you don't need 50 million pairs of shoes with green in them. I've got a pair of boots with olive green. I've got a pair of Puma shoes with olive green and yellow. I've got a pair of Nikes with gray and regular green color, like the color green of grass. And I've got 3 or 4 pairs of shoes with green in them, so I don't need any more shoes with green in them. I don't need any more shoes. I really don't. There's one pair of shoes that I would like to have, and that's a pair of black Air Force One lows. I would like to have a pair of them, but unfortunately, they didn't have my size at Hibbett's in town, and they don't have any of them in Ross, so there's no other place that sells Nike, Air Force Ones. I would like to have an all black pair of shoes to match anything, because all black matches anything the same as all white. And like I tell y'all, if you're somebody out there who, you're low on money and all you have is enough money to buy 2 pairs of shoes, and that's all you're going to have tennis shoe wise, an all white pair of Air Force Ones and an all black pair of shoes, no matter what brand they are. They don't have to be Nike. They could be Adidas, they could be anything. An all black pair of shoes will match any fit, and so will black. Or I mean black and white. White and black. If you got a pair of shoes with all white, it don't have to be an Air Force One low. I just got the Air Force One low because I found them in there at Ross one day for $44.99. I wasn't going to pass that up because they're $90 to $110 in the store. So I got them for way less than half price. They was half price, less than half price. So that's the only reason I picked them up, because I like Air Force lows. I don't like the high tops, but I like the lows. But anyway, if you're low on money, like I say, there's always places out here to shop for a cheap price. If you can find some. Sometimes you find stuff in there in Ross, sometimes you don't. But I really like those gray and green shoes I got, and those black, all black Air. I know they got to be some kind of, I don't know what number of Air Max they are, but I know they're an Air Max because they got a bubble in the shoe. You know they're an Air Max if they got a bubble in the shoe and they're low. They're usually an Air Max, but I don't know if it's an Air Max 90 or what Air Max number it is. I don't know how many different ones there is, but it's some kind of an Air Max shoe for $46.99. I wasn't passing them up. I mean, you know, I got an outfit, a sweat outfit, matched that outfit to the T, you know. So, yeah. And I got a pair of Air Jordan 1 lows for a weak colorway I've never even worn. And I got another all black pair of Air Jordan lows with gold in them. They're all black with gold. No suede. I mean, I've got one pair of shoes that's all suede. And I got them online on Nike.com for like $58. They were on sale. $58 or $68. I think it was $58. I ended up giving 60 some because I had to pay for shipping, but those shoes are dope. And they got navy blue, orange Nike check mark on them. They got green on them. They got, you know, orange on them. They got all different colors, green, navy blue, and orange. And that'll match a lot of fits I have too. So I really didn't want to part with those shoes because I liked them. And I like suede shoes, but I'm more of a person to like an all leather shoe. And the best colorway to get is an all black shoe or an all white shoe. And it don't have to be Nike. It can be Puma. It can be Adidas. It can be any kind of brand of shoe that you like that's comfortable in your shoes. It could be a pair of Skechers. Skechers, man, I'm telling you, Skechers are way underrated because Skechers are usually comfortable tennis shoes. And, you know, anything that's an all white shoe, no matter what brand it is, if you like it, and it rocks with any of your fits. You can wear a Nike fit and still wear a pair of Skechers all white shoes or all black shoes. No matter what brand it is, if it's all white and all black, that's all you need in your shoe collection if you don't have a lot of money to spend on shoes. You know, you just want two pairs and maybe just one pair. Either, and even if you only have money for one pair, get an all white pair of whatever brand of shoes that you rock. Any shoe you rock is cool because there's a lot of shoe tubers on here that I see people saying, oh, this shoe's out of date, nobody wears this. Who cares what the popular shoe is? I'm embarking on a new journey, which is roaming with Christ. And what I speak is truth, and I am open-minded to people. Not everybody has to rock the latest fashion, the latest shoes, all that stuff. Nobody has to do that. Because honestly, not everybody's got a lot of money to spend $200 and $300 on a pair of Jordan shoes. Not everybody likes Jordan shoes. Some people do, some people don't. Some people like Skechers, some people like Adidas, some people like Puma, some people like Nautica, some people like Under Armour shoes. There's a lot of nice Under Armour shoes that are really comfortable. I got a pair at home that's really comfortable. I only gave $30 for them in Ross. I rock all different brands. Nike and Jordan is not the only brand to rock, even though Nike's my favorite brand, but I do like Puma quite well too, and I like Adidas. You don't have to rock the latest fashion, man. I mean, this shirt here I got in Ross for $16 or $17.99. Normally it was a $60 or $70 sweatshirt, and I got it for $16 or $17.99 way back there. It's been probably 10 months ago when I bought this shirt. I got it for cheap. And the pants I got on True Religion for $50-some. $50-some. Came to $60 because I had to pay shipping, but True Religion jeans are thick, man. I got these for cheap. They was on sale. And the shoes I'm rocking, I got from Ross for $35. Timberland boots, all black. Match anything, match anything. Because at first I wanted to get a pair of wheat Mahana boots. Colorway wheat Mahana boots. They're about $100. Sometimes over $100. Well, I didn't end up buying them for the simple fact that I found these all black Timberland boots that I settled for. I settled for them because I liked them. I thought, well, I'm not going to give $100 and some for a pair of boots. You know what I mean? I like the boots, but I'm not going to go give $100 for them boots when I found these all black Timberland boots in Ross for $35. You know, because I'll be able to wear these for even next year. They'll still be in good shape. So that's the reason why I say you don't have to, because I got an all pair of wheat lows that's Jordan brand. They're either a Dunk Low or something. They're all wheat. They might be a Dunk Low. I don't know. But I think they're a Jordan 1 Low, and they're a wheat colorway. I haven't worn them yet, but there was no point in me buying a pair of wheat Mahana boots if I already had a pair of all black Timberland boots. All black matches anything the same as wheat matches about anything you wear, too. It matches a lot of different colors. You know, say you're in the winter months and there's a pair of boots you're looking at like me that you want to give $100 and some for. Well, go to your local Ross, see what kind of brands of boots they have. They carry Timberland boots. You know, see what they got to pick from. Timberland's just as good as Nike Mahana boots, but Nike Mahana boots are nice. But it is what it is. I went into Ross, I found these boots. I thought, well, man, I'm just going to get these instead of spending $100 on a pair of boots. $35. 100 minus 35, how much money you got left? You know, I probably bought 2 or 3 pairs of boots in there for the price I'd have gave for one. I mean, if you find something you like, all black matches anything. All white matches anything. Wheat colorway matches a lot of different things. But black and white obviously probably matches more than a wheat colorway, but wheat matches a lot of different things. Good color for the winter. But yeah, I wasn't gonna pay $100 and some for a pair of boots when I found these in Ross, all black, I thought, well, man, I ain't never had an all black pair of Timberland boots, well, I'm gonna buy those. They're different. They're women's. Got them in the women's section. $35. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Nope. So I pay full price for some things I have in the past that I really like, but I've also got most of my fits and most of my stuff comes from Ross or Marshalls. I don't get full price for stuff all the time. I do every once in a while, but most generally my stuff's coming from Ross or Marshalls. You know, some of my Jordan brand stuff and Nike shorts that I buy come from Hibbett's, but a lot of stuff I bought came from Ross. Like I said, this sweatshirt here came from Ross. I've had it up in my closet forever. This is only my second time wearing it. It still looks like new. Yeah. $17.99. You never know. It don't hurt to check your local Ross, your local Marshalls, your local TJ Maxx, your local Burlington Coat Factory. You never know. And I'm sure there's other places out there that sell stuff at discounted prices. I just don't know it off the top of my head. But I know there's Nike outlet stores. I wish we had a Nike outlet around here, but we don't. But it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Rock what you want to rock. If you're in the winter months, man, and you want toboggans, and say you like toboggans like me, go to Ross. I've gotten rid of some of my toboggans, 3 or 4 of them I did, but they didn't all come from Ross. But most of all my toboggans came from Ross, majority of them. And most of my Nike toboggans, they came from Hibbett's, or I bought them online on Nike.com or Dick's Sporting Goods or someplace like that. And the best time to buy toboggans is in the off season. That's when they're on sale. The best time to buy jackets, and you know, if you're on a budget, the best time to buy stuff is in the off season. But that's only going to work if you know what size you wear and you're not going to gain weight over certain months of the period. When it comes to me, when I first got on this medicine I was on, I gained like 15-20 pounds because I wasn't working at the time. I was just sitting at home. I was keeping the house clean and stuff, but that's about all I was doing, you know, and I gained weight. But once my body got immune to that dosage of medicine, I started to lose weight once I got a job and was going to work every day, you know. And I really need to get back into walking and doing some type of exercise, but I can't lift weights for the simple fact of my lower back. I hate that because I really like lifting weights. But I can't do that with my lower back issues. I can't cause that to be worse. So, but I do need to get out and walk. You know, when it gets warm enough to be able to do that. But yeah, man, there's always ways to save money. And I know I talk about Ross a lot on my channel, but I love that store, man. I don't love it above God, but that store is dope. There's a lot of times you can find some good stuff in there. But if you're going in there every day, you may not find something new in there. But usually every day I found a little bit of something new in there, even if it's 1 or 2 items. But it's not worth me doing a review of it in the store showing you all something if there's only 1 or 2 new things. So that's why I go in there every day, even if I buy something or I don't, just to give you all some content to show you what's in the store. But there's no point in doing it every day because they don't always have enough stuff in there really worth showing for me to do, you know, to show y'all. So I want to bring you new content, not the same stuff, you know. But if I lived in the city somewhere where there was more places to look around and stores and stuff, I could bring you more content. But Benz, I don't really have a whole lot in my town. A matter of fact, a little bit of back history. This store here that's Ross now used to be a JCPenney's. That's what used to be in the shopping center, not Ross. It was JCPenney's. And that store was high. That store hardly ever had anything in it you even wanted. I'm so glad they took that out of here, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, because there was nothing in that store. And this town, there's not a lot of people have a lot of money. And they put a Ross in this facility, and I thought, oh man, because I used to watch YouTube videos. There's this one guy, he's got way all kinds of subscribers. I think he's from Texas. And he would do Ross reviews all the time. He'd do Ross reviews of shoes, you know, clothes, whatever was in the store. And I thought, man, I've never been to a Ross. I had never, ever been in a Ross till they brought this Ross to our town. And I didn't know they had one in Cincinnati, but that's an hour and a half away from where I live, because I live in a small town. And when they took the pennies out, pennies went out around COVID. When COVID hit, a lot of people went shopping for stuff because people were... Y'all know how COVID was. And they ended up going out. There was a lot of businesses, 2 or 3 businesses in this town that went out during the time of COVID. And so they put a Ross in there, and I was like, man, I would go in here and see what they got. Man, they had all kinds of name brand stuff for cheap prices. I thought, golly, shoes, Nikes, Adidas, all this for half price of what it is in other stores, you know. I mean, this store stays packed. Every day there's somebody in there shopping. That store ain't going to go out of business. If that store goes out of business, then the whole town will shut down if that's the case, because that store... When you think about where you live, let's talk about this. Like, I like to talk about things outside the box. And whether it's something the Lord wants me to speak of, I'm sure he don't care if I speak of it. It's just relevant. It's relevant to reality. It's the fact it depends on where you live at as to what stores will go over well and what stores won't. In this town, there's not a lot of rich people. I'm sure there's some that have plenty of money, but I'm sure that the majority of people that live in this town live paycheck to paycheck. And so when you bring stores into the town that cost a lot of money, if their if their prices are high, a lot of people's not going to shop there. Therefore, eventually they're going to go out of business. And when you don't have much in there and nobody really wants anything in there, and people, they're wanting to do everything to where everything's online, to where you have to shop online to have anything. Well, my thing is, depending on how much money people have in your town as to whether that store is going to go over. The same thing with the restaurant. This is common sense. It really is if you think about it. If you live in a bigger city, then a more expensive store might go over well. But when you come to smaller towns like where I live at and people don't have a lot of money, those expensive stores are probably going to go out of business. So when they brought this Ross here, I thought, well, okay, this will go over well in this town because they have discounted prices. So this store ain't going to go out of business. This store ain't going to go out of business because they're always going to have business. They're always going to have business because they sell stuff at discounted prices so people can afford to shop there. You know what I mean? Like, depending on how much money a town has, like, as to people's income, as to whether a store will go over or won't go over so well. It's common sense. And then there was another store during COVID, because COVID hit in anywhere from 2019 into 2020. And at that time, there was another store down by the Walmart shopping center where I live at in this town that had I think it was called Goodies. Goodies was, and I'm sure you all have heard of it, Goodies is what it was called. It went out of business. During COVID, it went out of business. They shut it down. And then they put in another store in there, which I can't remember. I think it was Gordon's. I think that's the name of it, but I can't remember, y'all. But it didn't last 2 weeks, and they ended up shutting that one down. Now, this happened during the COVID time. And then they ended up putting the Marshalls in there. Oh, well, that went over well. Elderly people shop in there. Younger people shop in there. There's stuff in there for all different ages. And Marshalls and Ross went over well in this town. They've been here for about 2 years. And that's the reason why it went over well, is because they sell stuff at discounted prices. And they sell a lot of stuff that Pennies and Goodies was not selling. Pennies and Goodies was expensive stores to shop in. And it was getting to the point where they really didn't have much of anything in their store. And what they did have, all the prices were outrageous, so a lot of people wasn't shopping in there because there wasn't nothing to pick from. And let me tell you, during COVID, a lot of people were shopping online. I guarantee it, a lot of people were shopping online because the government wanted people to stay home. They were trying to tell people that they didn't need to go to church, that they didn't need to show up at Christmas time with their family members or be around a lot of people due to COVID. So therefore, I guarantee you there was more people shopping online during that time than they was actually going in the stores. That's common sense. I mean, I can pretty much estimate that. And that's another reason why a lot of them businesses shut down too, because people were shopping online. They were not going out in the stores because the government had them afraid to go out in public. Shiatiki. I speak of a lot of stuff, and it's just a little back history in the town I live in. I mean, those businesses went out during COVID because people were not out shopping like they were when it wasn't COVID. So, and yeah, during COVID, you know, I was working at a place where they shut the place down for 6 weeks. We got unemployment through the company for the first 3 weeks. And then, we got paid for the first 2 or 3 weeks that we were off. The company paid us. And then after that, we had to apply for unemployment for the last 3 weeks to get paid. But it's all different depending on what company you were currently working at the time COVID hit. I'm talking about the COVID season. I guess God wants me to speak of it. I talk about a lot of different things. But if you think about it, if you live in a town where a lot of people don't have a lot of money, where they're not wanting to spend $100 or $50, $60, $100 on a pair of pants, and you got stores that's selling stuff with hardly nothing to pick from, and then what they do have is all outrageous prices, and the people in your town which you reside in is not got the money to spend that kind of money, it's going to go out of business. It's going to go out of business. You know, I mean, it's just how it is, going to go out of business. You know, and so I don't think Ross or Marshalls will go out of business because they always have people in there shopping. They have discounted prices. Their prices are cheap enough that people can afford the gear. Know what I mean? And if you live in a bigger city where there's more people who have more money, then, you know, some companies that sell stuff for full price might be able to go over better than in towns where there's not a lot of money. You know what I mean? Because it depends on where you live. If you live in a smaller town or if you live in a bigger city as to whether that business will go over well or it will not. Well, we know discounted stores are going to go over well in smaller towns versus high expensive stores. That's common sense, really, if you think about it. It's really common sense. And so when they brought a Ross here, I was ecstatic because I had never ever been in a Ross, but I had always watched this one guy, I can't remember his name, but he always did Ross reviews almost at least 2 or 3 times a week on his videos, and I didn't even know there was one in Cincinnati, but I had never been in one. So I thought it was awesome that they brought a Ross here. I thought, man, look at all this stuff that's in here. Now I can do Ross reviews. Now I can do Ross and Marshall reviews. Maybe they'll bring a TJ Maxx here one day. Maybe they'll bring a Burlington Coat Factory here. I wish they would bring more discounted stores to this town than what they have. we have a Hobby Lobby, which I think brought more. When they put a Hobby Lobby in here, that was good, because usually Hobby Lobbies are only in inner cities. You know what I'm saying? Hobby Lobby, have y'all ever been in there shopping for crafts or stuff for your house? Or, you know, people go in there to shop for sewing stuff or for stuff to decorate their house with, you know, picture frames, all kinds of different stuff that's in Hobby Lobby. And when I was growing up, you only seen a Hobby Lobby in your bigger cities like Lexington, Cincinnati, New York, whatever cities there is. You didn't see a Hobby Lobby in a smaller town like what I live in. So when they brought the Hobby Lobby here, I think it made room for this town to grow, and more stores came into the store that are usually in cities. And I would imagine that mostly Ross's are usually only in inner cities, bigger cities. This is a small town compared to bigger cities. You know, compared to Cincinnati or Lexington, this is a small town. And they brought a Hobby Lobby here, which I think that opened up doors for more businesses to come here with discounted prices. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, because most generally a Hobby Lobby's in a bigger city. And I think that's what opened up doors for other stores to come here. I got tired of shopping in Walmart. I got tired of shopping in JCPenney's. Everybody was all upset. Oh, my mom's like, oh my gosh, they're closing down Penny's. I said, Mom, they'll probably bring something else here. May not be what you want, but I don't care for JCPenney's. I really don't. I like Ross. I shop in there. I go in there every day just to look and see what they have, just so I can bring you all content. But if there's nothing new in there, then there's really no point in me making a video about the same stuff I've already showed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people want to see the same shoe every day or the same stuff they've already seen, so I'm trying to wait for them to get some new stuff. But there really is a lot of, I'm really big on clothes. I like my fits to match. I like my shoes to match. I like toboggans. But I don't always want to wear a toboggan. But the reason why I'm wearing them right now is because it's still cold. And we all know that the most things, if you're outside and you got 2 or 3 layers on, right? If you don't have a toboggan on, your head and your ears is what's cold, and your feet. Your feet and your head, right? So you got to make sure you got enough layers on, but you also got to make sure your head's warm. Because your head's warm will make the rest of your body be warm. And you want your feet to be warm, because usually it's your ears and head and your feet that's the coldest. Obviously your hands, if you don't have, you know, if it's cold enough below 0, you need gloves on. But yeah, I mean, you know, so I had plenty of toboggans. I probably got 35, 40 toboggans. But I wear them all, you know. This one here, I hadn't worn it this year yet, but it was brand new. I bought it to go with the fit. Back when I was in Mania, I bought some clothes in Hibbins, and I bought a heck of a fit, man. It's really dope. I don't know if I've ever showed it to y'all or not, but it's a dope sweatshirt and pants. I gave probably almost $200 for the fit. And I got this, and this is North Face, I think. I think it's North Face, but yeah. And I bought this to go with it. I got a spaghetti strap shirt to wear under it too. And them shoes I bought the other day, them Air Max 90s or whatever they are, they're some kind of Air Max. I ain't for sure what number. We'll just say Air Max 90 on the off chance that that's what number they are. And they would match that fit perfectly, you know. So yeah, you know, I talk about things outside the box on this channel. I talk about many different things, you know. But yeah, I really like matching my fits. Fashion's a big part of my personality. You know, that's my own individuality is my known reality. You know, I try to talk about things outside the box. So yeah, depending on what your situation is, as to what town you live in, as to what businesses actually go over well and what businesses don't. Because if you bring a business to this town, being that it's not a big town or an inner city where a lot of people live, they're not going to be able to afford those prices of these hefty store prices. So places like Ross and Marshall's will go over really well in this town versus these other businesses that they've had in this town that people couldn't afford, especially when COVID hit. Now they closed down our local Frisch's, and I guess something else is supposed to go in there. And I don't know when they're supposed to go in there and redo the building or what, but it's supposed to be a different restaurant. Similar to what Frisch's served, but a different restaurant. But I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's supposed to be. they closed down Big Lots here in our town. So we don't have a Big Lots anymore. I don't know how many locations that they closed down, but I know there was many locations that closed down Family Dollar stores too. Because we had like $4 or $5 for anywhere from a Dollar Tree to I don't know how many Dollar Generals and Family Dollar stores in this town. I don't know how many we needed. We didn't need 4 or 5 anyway. But anyway, what I'm saying is they're supposed to put a Ollie's inside of the Big Lots shopping center where Big Lots used to be. That's what's coming into our town. It's called a Ollie's. That's what Mom said. Now, I've been in the Ollie's before, back years ago when I was up by Cleveland, Ohio, and there was an Ollie's up that way. It was in a town called Brunswick, Ohio, which is about 18 or 19 miles before you get to Cleveland, Ohio. And there was an Ollie's there, which they had a lot of good stuff, discounted prices and everything. I liked it. And I like it a lot better than I did Big Lots. So if they're bringing that, if they take a business out, they're going to bring something back in there sometime. Then in this shopping center here, I think they're supposed to bring, I think it's going to be in the Hobby Lobby shopping center here, they're bringing a Starbucks. In a small town, you usually don't see Starbucks in these smaller towns. You see them in the bigger cities, but they're bringing a Starbucks here. But I thought they had a Starbucks inside of the Kroger store, and I think they do. So maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking it's called Starbucks that they have inside our local Krogers that we have. But I guess they're going to build one here in this shopping center, so I don't know why they would need a Starbucks inside of Kroger's. Kroger's is currently remodeling their store. They're fixing to remodel. So, and I think they're going to carry clothes and different stuff, so they're going to be trying to compete with Walmart. So I don't know. So that's what Mom said. They're going to remodel their store. It ain't been that long ago that Walmart remodeled their store here in this town. So Kroger's is fixing to remodel their store if they ain't already currently doing it. And Mom said they're going to start selling clothes in there and other stuff. So evidently Kroger's is trying to compete with Walmart. Well, that'd be what Walmart does. They sell electronics. They sell everything in there. And Walmart's took a lot of people out of business around here because people only want to shop at Walmart. They won't take their business anywhere else. And don't get me wrong, I like Walmart, but I shop at Ross for clothes more than I shop at Walmart. If I go in Walmart, about the only thing I buy clothes-wise in there is maybe bras and those spaghetti strap shirts that you can get for $3, and I buy my food in there. And I have bought other stuff electronic-wise, but as far as me buying most of my majority of my clothes, I don't buy from Walmart. But there's nothing wrong with Walmart if that's where you want to shop, but there's other places to shop that you can find just as cheap prices if you look and take your business to other places besides just buying everything in Walmart. It's easy to spend a lot of money at Walmart. You can spend your money on clothes, electronics, computers. They got everything in there. And that takes a lot of businesses out of town sometimes when people don't take their business other places. And the only thing bad about Kroger's here in town is that Kroger's prices are higher than they are Walmart. Kroger's is outrageous on their pop. Now, every once in a while they'll have a sale on pop, and that's about the only time I would buy anything at Kroger's is when they was having a sale on their pop. Other than that, I bought my groceries from Walmart because they were cheaper. But if you have celiac disease, Kroger's carries more gluten-free things than what Walmart does. Walmart has a very small selection of gluten-free products in their store, as far as food-wise. And Kroger's has a lot more gluten-free things. You're going to pay more money. You're going to pay the price for it because gluten-free stuff ain't cheap, but Kroger's is trying to compete with Walmart. Elsewise, they wouldn't be remodeling their store, putting more different things in there like clothes and other things to shop for because they're trying to compete with Walmart. That's who they're competing with. You know. But I don't think Kroger's is ever going to I don't think Kroger's will ever shut down around here, and I don't think Kroger's is going to be able to compete with Walmart. That's my personal opinion because their prices are nowhere as low as Walmart's is. But, like I said, stores that have discounted prices is what we need in this town. I would like to see a Marshalls, not a Marshalls, but I'd like to see a TJ Maxx and a freaking Burlington Coat Factory come to this town. So I'm going to speak it to life that it will come to this town because this is what we need. We need places where people, their discounted prices and things will go over well in this town with discounted stores. Because that's where they're going to make money. You know what I mean? And Walmart's in cahoots with the Sam's Club, right? And we don't have no Sam's Club close around here. You either have to go to Lexington or Cincinnati to go to a Sam's Club. And you all know they have discounted prices, but they sell stuff in bigger bulks. My mom always said she'd like to see one come to this town, but if it did, it'd probably take Walmart out of business. I don't know. But I thought Walmart was actually owned the Sam's Club. They're in connection anyway. But yeah, I mean, you know, stuff like that you see in the bigger cities, if it comes to your town, that's when you know your town's coming up. You know what I mean? I pray that the town of Maysville, Kentucky is going to come up. They're going to come up with businesses, they're going to come up. There's going to be more jobs for the people. I speak it to life. I speak it to life that the town of Maysville will come up. Because right now, in this day, age, and time, we need more businesses in this town. Because there's been a lot of businesses that have shut down that nothing has ever came back into the building. And we live in a town where there's only, let's see, there's there's a PPI, there's an EnviroFlight. I'm talking about manufacturing jobs. So there's EnviroFlight, there's PPI, and there's Green Tokai, and there is a Stober Drives and a Pepsi place. And we have another thing across the street, which is called a Goodwill 360 or Good 360 or something. And they take donated goods, and I guess they have people load them up on the truck and deliver them to people that need them or something. I don't know, but that's what they do. But they only have 50 employees working at that facility. And those are the only factories that we have in this town. And none of them really start out at the greatest pay. We're talking maybe $14, $15 an hour start out pay, $16 depending on what job you apply for. But we need more manufacturing jobs in this town. We need more stores and businesses in this town. And I would like to see more retail jobs come to this town, but I'd also like to see more manufacturing jobs come to this town. I would like to see more businesses come to this town, because the more business, the more jobs you have, the better your city, the better your town does. Because the more jobs there is, the more businesses you have. The more manufacturing jobs you have, the more business stores get. You know what I mean? Especially in this small town. Now, when I was growing up, I lived in a way smaller town than this. We had a dollar store and maybe one grocery store. That's about all we had. We had a few gas stations, but you go up there now, it's a ghost town. There ain't nothing in that town. There's one gas station out of the whole town. I lived in Manchester, Ohio. Population mostly white. How did I grow up liking rap? I don't know. I guess it's just what God blessed me to do. It is what it is. I used to listen to secular rap all the time. I studied all the big wigs. Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., Wu-Tang Clan, Method Man, Eminem especially, Nas, Lauryn Hill, the Fugees. Remember Lauryn Hill, who was in the Fugees, and then she made her own. She went solo and made The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Remember that album? Lauryn Hill was my favorite rapper of all time. She was my favorite rapper of all time because she spoke of God in her solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Do you know I freestyled that Lost Ones? Y'all remember the song called Lost Ones? I freestyled that at my prom. Shikari. She was my favorite rapper of all time because she spoke of God in her lyrics. And that's why I took a liking to her. That's why she was my favorite rapper. Of any mainstream rapper, she was my favorite. Because she spoke truth in her lyrics. She spoke of God in her lyrics. That's what I liked about Lauryn Hill. And she was my favorite mainstream rapper ever. And another thing, Lauryn Hill could sing and rap. She could sing and rap. Well, she had the whole package. And after the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, I haven't heard any other songs from Lauryn Hill. I'm not sure if she makes music still, but evidently she's not in the mainstream. Probably because she got out because they probably wanted her to sell her soul and she wasn't willing to do that, so she left the mainstream industry. But remember, Lauryn Hill, Lost Ones. She had a singing voice like none other, man. She had a good voice. But she was my favorite mainstream rapper. And she sung, too. I wish I had a singing voice, y'all. I just don't think I really have a singing voice like a lot of people. I try to. You know, I'm not too bad, but I'm definitely not the best, that's for sure. But, like I want to tell y'all, I'm not out here in competition with other rappers and other people. I'm only doing what God called me to do because the way I learn things is different than other people. If I sit here and compare myself to other rappers and say, oh, I'm in competition, I ain't in competition with nobody but myself. I'm trying to be a better version to see. So that's the way I look at it. But yeah, I gave y'all a little back history about, you know, some of the businesses that's been in this town that's went out in COVID and that have come in. And I speak life over your life. I never want to speak death. Because God says people out here are speaking death till there's nothing left. And what that means is if you are a lost soul and you've not asked Christ into your heart, you're speaking death over your life till there's nothing left. Because there is nothing left until you invite Christ into your heart. That's the way I look at it. And many things come and go. Many businesses have come and gone. And hopefully the economy gets better. They say we're in inflation. But I wrote a song, poetry, a poem. And I wrote about that. You know, the government says we're in inflation. But they only give us a little good news on occasion. They want to cause division. The devil causes division, but the world plays along with it a lot of times. A lot of people in the world play along with the division. You know, there were people in this country and in other countries that were segregated due to their color of skin. God created all people, so the devil's the one causes the division. If you have a parent who tells you that if you get with a black person or Japanese or whatever different culture or different color skin person to marry them or to be in a relationship with them and your parents don't and some family member don't approve of it, that right there tells you that they have racism in their heart. They have hatred for what God created. God created all people. He didn't create us to hate one another. He created us to love everybody. You know, look how much Jesus loved the world, the people that was in the world. He loved the people in the world. He loved the people so much that he gave his life so that we could have the opportunity to ask him into our life so we could have eternal life. Why people turn against? Some people are for life. Some people speak pro-life. Some people speak pro to death. They want to go to death. But you know, they would rather live. It's easier to walk the lane of the unrighteous than it is to walk the lane of the righteous. So here's where God's wanting to intercede and tell me what I'm leading me to speak of, what he wants me to speak of. It's easy to go down the road of the unrighteous, which is the road of the devil. It's not so easy to walk the road of the righteous. Know what I mean? And that's the same thing as saying you either went down the evil road or you're going down the righteous road. You're going down the right path or you're going down the wrong path. Left is the wrong path. Right is the right path, right? Left and right. Which way are you going? It's your choice. It's not anything. God gave us freedom of choice to pick him or to not pick him. He gave you freedom of choice and he blessed you to have a voice. So it is upon you to invite him into your life. There is nothing that I can say or do to make you do. You have to have an open heart to ask Christ into your life. Anybody out there, no matter who it is. I cannot force that upon nobody, and God doesn't want anything forced. God says to watch your source. Watch the source. Stay on the solid course. You don't have to roam around here in highfalutin clothes and highfalutin shoes and highfalutin cars, and you don't have to have a Porsche to come into the Lord's life, to ask the Lord into your life. The Lord Jesus paid the price. All you have to do is ask Him into your life. So if there's anybody out there who's not accepted Christ into their life, I wanted to ask and take this time and ask, if you are truly sorry of your sins and you believe that Jesus died on the cross and that He arose from the dead 3 days later, then you're saved. Then go find a non-religion church who speaks of the truth and the spiritual gifts of dreaming dreams, seeing visions, interpretations, and speaking in tongues, and get baptized. But remember, baptism is not the true way to salvation. Accepting Christ into your heart, which can be done from anywhere you're at. It does not cost you nothing, but Jesus paid the price. So, anyway, I'm going to show you all these shorts since I've been on here for almost an hour. I'm going to show you all these shorts that I copped from Ross. Sometimes I'll show clothes before I go on to talk about what the Lord leads me to say, but if He's leading me in His way, then I have to do what He tells me to do before I proceed to other things. Because materialism does not come above the Lord. Anyway, these are a high-rise Bermuda short. They're sort of similar to the other ones that I got, only they was a light colorway. And I don't know what the original price of these are, or if they even have the original price, so I'm looking to see if there is an original price tag on here, which I did not see an original price tag. Maybe there is, I don't know. I'm looking, but I don't see one. But I gave $13.99 for these shorts. They are a size 3 in the women's. Size 3. They're 99% cotton and 1% spandex, made in China. What else is new? Most everything is made in China. Indonesia or some other place. Most things are not made in the USA. That's the problem. But it's Madden Girl high-rise Bermuda. I wear these on my hips because I got them big enough to wear on my hips, and that's what they look like. They got 2 pockets. They got pockets in the front. And that's all I cop. Didn't cop nothing else. So now I'm going to sit here like I do every day, and I may bring you all another video later on. I probably will. But this one will probably not be uploaded till later this evening because it's almost an hour long, and it's probably took up a lot of my space on my phone, so I'm going to have to wait before I shoot another video or whatever. So this will be uploaded later on today. So until next time, peace, love, keep the positive attitude. Know that even if you're in a situation where it feels like there's no way out, God will guide you out. So until next time, peace, love. Thank y'all for tuning in to me. If you like my videos, like, comment, subscribe. I'm coming up in my subscribers, coming up in my views. Thank you all for all the support. I love y'all, and I'm here to speak of Jesus Christ and show y'all fits and show y'all Ross reviews. I'm here to speak the light of Christ, the ultimate goal that I have. I'm here to bring you freestyles, many different things, food reviews, whatever it is. I thank you all for like, comment, subscribing, and sharing my videos. Thank you all for your support. And thank you all. Y'all blessed. Peace, love. Y'all be blessed. We're in this together.